Greetings YouTube, performance reviews where I give you the review from the technician's point of view. And yes, even I get tempted by things in Costco, particularly this DeWalt shop vac, which is constantly on sale. I've seen this thing bounce all over the place in terms of price. I saw it as high as $150 and as low as like $70. So I decided to pick one up and see what all the fuss was and to see what this is. Now people are constantly telling me that I need to get a shop vac and do a review on a shop vac and they're so powerful and you should just use this in your house. So that's why we're doing a review / unboxing on this. Obviously this is not meant for your house. This is meant as a dust extractor or a disposable product for a certain type of market. DeWalt is a company that's owned by a big subsidiary. Is this a machine that's made in the US? Of course not. This is made in China. So let's go ahead, unbox it. We're going to do a suction test if you've never been around the channel. We'll also do a sound test to see what this thing sounds like, and I'll give you my thoughts in terms of how it's made and whether or not you should pick this up. So first off, the model number is DXV08SA. It's an 8-gallon or 30-liter shop vacuum. Well, we're greeted with a telephone number. And in the box, we have, well, the unit itself. And we do have two wands, two plastic. I'll have to measure what width those are. Those are not a standard fitting, I don't believe. We have the machine. We got some super dry. That tells me that this stainless steel might not be a high-grade stainless steel. Now, I just want to show this is like a mirror finish. This is really, really polished. I don't know why they decide to polish it so much, but that costs a lot more to manufacture than just leaving the metal a little bit raw or painting it. That is everything that came in the box, so a lot more goodies than I was expecting. So we have the motor, the bin, a disposable bag, a shroud to use in place of that cartridge filter for wet pickup. We have two wands, crevice tool, dusting brush, upholstery tool, two adapters. We also have some blower attachments, a multi-tool that can be used between an area rug and a hard floor, the hose, casters, the accessory bag, the manual, and the screws to put the casters on. This is supposed to be an accessory bag. They just, for whatever reason, decided to put the wheels in it. Let's see what kind of quality these wheels are. These are nice casters, actually. These are really nice casters. The wheels just go in here. Doesn't matter which one. Got a nice fitting there. Open the screw package. These are Phillips number 2. They are not the Japanese industrial standard. And yes, the irony of me using a Makita tool on a DeWalt is not lost. All right, second, you can see the bin. There's a line over the filler here. It's interesting they didn't cant this filler. They could have created cyclonic action by changing the shape of this, and they chose not to. This is probably made by some outfit in China. There's probably a million names on this product. I'm going to again put those better bags on there. They snap in very nicely. We're going to put the lid, DeWalt logo first. Yeah, you can put it, yep, the lid is eccentric. You can only put it on one way. Those clip. Let's get our hose. So our hose can be clipped in here. We have, again, a blower in the back. And if you need to inflate a mattress or something, the idea is you take the adapter and then you put this adapter on, and then you could put, you know, one of these guys on to inflate something. We'll test the numbers in a minute. I suspect this isn't going to have enough oomph for that, but I could be wrong. Speaking of oomph, let's talk about the label in the rear. We have listed on here that this is 8-gallon, 3 liters. There is no suction or airflow rating on this machine, and that's the way it usually is. We also have a rather short cord. We'll see how long this cord is in a second. All right, the cord is about 2 meters. Not very long. This is a drain for wet pickup is what this guy is here, by the way, in case you're wondering. Make sure that's attached at all times. Give that a good snug turn. So there's no storage for the rest of the accessories other than this bag. And the idea is that you take this bag and you dangle it on the back of the unit somehow. And then the other thing, like I said, I did like is around here for the hose and the cord, you have a little rubber guy, kind of like that. That's going to dry rot, but that's nice while it lasts. And then you can wrap the cord around the handle here. So I am a little over 6 feet, and I will say this is about 10 inches too short for me to hold. I'm actually having to bend over and arc my back in order to use the floor tool, which seems to be the arrangement. This seems like I'm missing a wand or a gas pump or something, but nothing like that comes with this. I don't see anything like that on DeWalt's website. Just a side note here, the materials that this bag is made out of, this would not be what we would consider adequate filtration for most indoor use. I suspect that this disposable bag here is designed with the intent of putting sawdust in it or something that's not particularly hazardous to your lungs. It's got a single micro liner, but it's, again, this is a bag that looked like it came out of the 80s. It's not adequate filtration. The cartridge filter does not claim to be HEPA rated in any sort, and yeah, it's not like a seal how this goes on. There's no gasket on the other side of this filter, so I suspect this is going to leak a lot of stuff in there. Now, I'll put a link below to this, but this is a normal multi-layer synthetic bags. These are what we have used for over 20 years in the vacuum industry. This is what you want in there, and this does fit that. So I'll put a link below to these. These are going to be a little bit more pricey than the DeWalt bags, but they're going to provide better airflow and better filtration. Now, something I do like, again, I wish there was a seal on both sides of this. This does have a ball float valve. But what's nice about this is that goes on and twists very positively. So that's very nice, very easy to manipulate if you need to. Now when you're doing wet pickup, you don't expect any sort of filtration, and that's where this shroud will just go on in place. This is the same system that almost every company uses for wet pickup, so don't be offended at the lack of filtration here. This is strictly meant to keep schmutz from getting in the motor. So that's how the wet pickup works. On the back, we have a blower. So if you wish to blow dust everywhere, you can. I just want to give a size comparison to something like a Henry or a Miele C1, since people often think shop vacs can be used in the home. As you can see, it dwarfs these machines. Let's see how much working vacuum this shop vacuum has. Again, they provided an adapter for 1 1/4 inch, which is the standard vacuum size. So that's very nice. Wow. So we got 41 inches working, but 50 inches sealed, which, again, typical to shop vacuums, this is prioritizing airflow and not sealed suction. And what does that mean for you, the consumer? That means this is going to struggle picking up heavy things. But light things like sawdust, this is going to excel in. All makes sense. That also means if we're trying to pick up in our house common household stuff, this is going to struggle, but it's not as anemic as something like a Kirby. All right, we've switched to the studio microphone. You're going to hear the real sound of this machine running to give you an idea of the tone and the pitch of the motor. I want to give you something to compare it to versus some home vacuums versus a shop vacuum. So as you can hear, this thing's about double the sound of a normal home vacuum. So if you're working in a shop, you probably have ear protection on, it's not a big deal. But if you were trying to use this inside the house or inside an enclosed space, you probably would want ear protection. We're gonna do a standard carpet pickup test with this and see how it does. Well, it did all right. Still left quite a bit of fine sand behind. A little bit of fuzz. Yeah, a little bit of cat litter. And it snowplowed some breakfast cereal around. Again, this nozzle is not exactly great. I wonder if we could fix that. Out of curiosity, I switched out the nozzle this came with just a standard Wessel-Werk switchable floor tool. Let's see how this does. Well, that did a lot better, did it not? A little bit of fuzz. The sand pickup is much better. Still not great, but much better. A little bit of cat litter snowplowed into this section, and it got the breakfast cereal. So I would say if you have one of these and you're really trying to use it, remember how I said it wouldn't pick up large objects? So if you're trying to improve the usability of this, probably getting a Wessel-Werk floor tool would help, but understand its limitations when I'm talking about picking up heavy objects, again because of those low sealed numbers. Let's see how this does on the usual mess on hard floor, your breakfast cereal, cat litter, fine sand, and pet hair. Maybe it will do a little better on hard floor. Again, it really struggles with the cat litter and picking up heavy objects. There's a little bit of fine sand, a little bit of pet hair that got manipulated around by this floor tool, which is really not the best floor tool. Now, an odd decision is there's no swivel right here. There is a swivel here at the base of the unit. This hose is very, very stiff. So if you're trying to use this as a floor vacuum or on the end of a sander, you might find that to be a problem. If they had made this swivel, it would be a little bit better, but sorry. If they made a swivel, it would be a little bit better. So again, imagine this on the end of the sander. There's no button lock, no nothing. That's going to get very frustrating and be in your way. Now, if you're just using this as a stationary dust collector, meaning this is just, screwed to the back of a bandsaw or something, I think this could make sense in a well-ventilated area, especially for the price. Now, the other thing, I know some people will like hook cyclones and things up to this. Yes, you could use this. It's anemic enough, it's not going to crush most of those Home Depot buckets and things like that. But in terms of trying to use this in the house or trying to use this as a vacuum, while the casters are very nice, the stiff hose, the short cord, and the noise really gets to me. On top of that, there's no real place for accessory storage on board. So if you want to hook this or get rid of this, you sure can't. And that bugs me. There is storage, as I described earlier, like this. Sure, we could store it like that. And again, what do we do with all this? There's no place for that on board or around. All right, should you buy this? Very, very conditional buy. It would have to be on sale. You would have to need it right away. I think there are other options I've reviewed before, like products from Karcher, that are a better value proposition overall, both for home use and as a dust collector. So I would give it a very conditional buy. I will say the whole area stinks like electrical. The carbon brushes haven't settled in yet, and I've used it quite a bit in this review, so understand that going in as well. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day. Check out one of these other videos on the end if you're looking for something like this. If you're looking for a good home vac, I'm going to suggest a Henry or Sebo or a Miele. If you're looking for a good shop vac, take a look at Pneumatic, take a look at Karcher, take a look at Bosch.